So it was a Saturday morning, early dawn, and my first cries could be heard. In the most urban part of Ghana, Africa, I was labeled a Ghanaian. Some would call it normal, I a miracle. My life is not the most average, but who wants mediocrity? Now that's really boring. No offense. And it may look normal to travel around the world, but I only view it as grace and favor. My father works under this company known as Bumblebee Foods. Due to this, he was constantly on the go, to Thailand, to Australia, and China, and many other locales. Sooner than later, though, he was based in the Fiji Islands, where my 3rd through 6th grade took form. The islands were beautiful, especially where I resided. In the center of the old capital of Fiji, Levuka, became my new home away from home. It wasn't always pleasant, though, because even in the outskirts, in the tiny island far away, there were many stereotypes. Even the greatest stereotype of all, the bullies. It's funny how easy it is to make your life sound so fantastic, but the truth will always prevail. So I guess I will simply tell you a really good story, hopefully good story. I was bullied not for anything but the color of my skin. And I would love to tell you all that I wasn't fazed by it, that I am this mighty child with no soul, as my sister calls me. But just like you all, I do have a soul, and I was greatly affected by it. I still am at times, actually, but don't worry, I'm not gonna make the story all sad and mopey, because I really don't like tears, so it's okay. But it was an interesting period in my life, and now that I look back at it, I laugh so hard, because the people teasing me were actually a shade or two darker than I am. So, it's okay. But with the brand of a darkie, or a blackberry as I was famously labeled, I'm not really sure which. I prefer the phone, just saying. But I decided I was not good enough to do anything that made me actually stand out, like talking to you guys today. Because when it all came down to it, I saw my dark skin as a handicap, and that was all that I guess truly mattered. I don't think that makes any sense now, though. I would love to say I believe this because I actually grew up. I would love to say I believe this because I made really good friends, which I did, but that's really not the reason. I found myself in my faith, and that has been my anchor and the only reason I can actually stand before you today. I traveled back to Ghana in the 7th grade and spent an entire year there, only to return to Fiji soon after. I was not at all excited because I had made really cool friends. Plus, in Ghana, we were all dark-skinned, so, it was okay. I didn't get teased, and I didn't stick out like a sore thumb. But, it's more comfortable to be around people just like yourself. But that sure wasn't going to be my destiny at the time. And at the point, all I could say was, gosh darn it, but it's okay. My mom doesn't like curse words anyways. I'm grateful I left, though, because this was the year I got to meet my first storm and rain, push and shove best friend, Anna. It is the year I got to meet my mother and my father in Christ, and the year I found myself rooted in the faith. I was born into a Christian family, but being born into the family is sort of meaningless, because just because I'm born into a family of doctors does not mean I'm a doctor, because I hate blood, so I'm not going to be a doctor anyways. So yes, this was the year I learned that I was so much more than the color of my skin, that I have a much better future ahead of me that has nothing to do with my gender, my race, or my height. Now at this moment, at this time, I can gladly stand and say that I really don't care what anyone else says about me. It's easy to care. It's really easy to stress out. But we're all so different, and that should never really be a bad thing. I heard a comparison in English class this year that I love, and it was between being a cow and being a rhino. And the thing is that a rhino charges for what it wants, whilst a cow quietly watches life go by. I have decided that I will live my life as a rhino, and I hope you do too. But if you don't, I will not judge you, because without cows, we will have no beef burgers, so it's okay. So seeing as I'm out of time and out of words, I will end with a Ralph Waldo quote that says that to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. So no matter how people try to paint you, remember to always be yourself. Thank you.